But computing has a problem. It attracts only a narrow range of people. So when we think about why these numbers would be so low, why is it that there are so few people who are studying computing? Well, it turns out that computing has been attractive to only a very small segment of the population, or less than 50% of the population, and that is women and underrepresented minority men have historically not been attracted to computing as a field. And that is the majority. That's the majority of our population. And so if we are restricting our recruitment for this important and increasingly large field to less than the majority of the population, it shouldn't be so surprising to us then that in fact we're seeing a problem with this mismatch between the demand and the supply. Women's presence in the STEM disciplines varies. Computing really only draws on a small number of women. Women have actually reached parity or even surpassed the number of men in biology, and have reached parity in chemistry and almost parity in math. So if you look at these two charts, we see the percentage of Bachelors of Science awarded to women in 2014 and the total degrees awarded to men and women in 2014. And what we see here at the very top of this chart is biology drawing 59% of all of the biology bachelor's degrees are awarded to women. Nearly half are being awarded to women in chemistry. 42% in mathematics and statistics. And if we look at those in the dark bars, which are the computing fields, we see only a very small proportion of those degrees are being awarded to women. So CIS, 17%, computer science, 15%, computer engineering, even less, 10%. And so what we see, and one thing this tells us, is that women are good at science and they're good at math. We hear that women tend to say, well, I'm not good, I'm not a biology person, or I'm not a STEM person, or I'm not a math person. Well, in fact, they are. It translates into 59% of the degrees in biology being awarded to women. Women are biology people. Women are chemistry people. And women are even math people. So it shows us that women are good at science and math, but it isn't translating into having women select computing fields as majors for themselves and seeing that as a potential for careers for their future. And the other important thing about this and what this shows is that not all STEM is the same. That we say, oh, we want to get more representation in STEM fields, but some STEM fields are doing very, very well. Biology, we really don't need to attract more women to biology. They're doing pretty well in that field. But when we look at some of those other disciplines that comprise STEM, we see, particularly computing and engineering, that there is a lack of women choosing these fields to study in college and then for their future. When we look at the percentage of degrees awarded in 2013, major occupations in terms of women and underrepresented minority men, the dark bar is bachelor's degrees awarded, and then doctorates awarded, those people who are employed in the field with bachelor's degrees, and those employed in the field with doctorate degrees. And what we see is it goes from, again, life sciences doing very well. This is those biology fields and so forth for women and for underrepresented minority men. A vast majority of the bachelor's degrees awarded in life sciences are going to women and men from underrepresented groups, but only a small proportion of those degrees in computer science are being awarded to women and men from underrepresented minority groups, and then even fewer are employed in the field in 2013. Okay, so why is this important to us? Well, I'll just say that groups of people, huge groups of people, the majority of our population in the United States, are missing out on learning the skills that are becoming increasingly important and valued in our society and in our economy. But I'd like for you to take a minute to think about diversity and why should it matter? Why should diversity in computing matter? And why does it matter to you? And I'd like for you to take a moment and to write down in 200 words or less and post it on our discussion board. The answer to this question: why should diversity in computing matter? And why should it matter for our country that there are so few people studying the field? And why does it matter to you? What is it in your context?